Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and we're going to take a look at a few more ticker symbols that were in play today. Okay, first up, XGTI, above 80 on RSI and Fasto, bullish crossover on ADX. The big move on this chart today was the big gap up open above the 50-day simple moving average, the green line, and the 100-day simple moving average is the gold line. It was also above the upper Bollinger Band, currently at 173. Okay, the key support level to hold on a pullback would be EMA4 at 161 and this 100-day simple moving average. As long as those levels hold, there'll be more upside potential. There was this big gap up open on this giant volume bar. Look at the volume. So there's big money behind the move. So that this could continue heading higher. The key resistance levels to break are going to be this high close back here in February. The first 2 days of February, the close at those levels. If it can break above that, you could be looking at a potential run up here onto the 10th of January and testing the 200-day simple moving average at 275. That is the next big target if this bullish uptrend can continue. We'll see if this can be more than a one-day move. Just always keep in mind the 200-day simple moving average is always a big level to break, and many times is the profit-taking zone. As long as candles continue riding EMA4 support higher above the middle Bollinger Band, this new uptrend should continue. Notice this was a breakout from this long descending triangle pattern that turned into this tight sideways channel for the last two and a half months. Notice there was a big support down here in this 135 to 140 zone. Multiple bottoms had formed, and then the Bollinger Bands had become very, very tight, and there was a break today above the upper Bollinger Band. Many times when that happens after a tight consolidation pattern, more upside continues, especially when you get a giant volume bar. So we'll be looking at a potential run to the 200-day simple moving average. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. This will be the chart to follow tomorrow. RSI and Fasto are both in the bull zone. Keep an eye here on ADX. Bulls do not want to see the green line cross the red line to the downside. This here was a signal. The green line crossing the black line to the downside was a signal that the bulls were tiring a little bit after this big spike up. Notice the big move happened at the open today with the big volume. This was the gap up open. There was a pullback, big loading. The candles ran up and then they consolidated. There was a push above resistance into the close, which was very good to see. This was a signal that there's potentially more upside tomorrow on this candle here at 215. The high close here at 10 o'clock was the key level to break. When there was a break above that level, that was a clue that the market makers want to take it higher tomorrow. We'll see if they can do that. The key is going to be to hold this middle Bollinger Band at 195. As long as that's holding, that will signal more upside potential. There was a PSAR bear flip. If it does break, you could see this lower Bollinger Band tested, and if the lower Bollinger Band breaks and this support line, which is currently what is this, around 183 or so from today, if that breaks, then you could see a potential drop down to the 50 simple moving average, currently at 169. So yeah, so there was a very nice move today. We'll just be looking for follow through tomorrow. Okay, let's look at AKBA. This is another stock that had a big gap up open. And notice here that this here is the daily chart. The stock has been in this nice uptrend. It had back here in April, the last time we were really talking about it, had this big gap up open, and then it pulled back and had this long consolidation. It did hold the middle Bollinger Band. The uptrend was intact during this entire pullback. Notice these candles formed above the upper Bollinger Band. The candles had to work their way back into the bands. Support held. Notice that the big volume was on the gap up days, and then there was very, very light volume during the consolidation period, and then the sellers tired, and then boom, we have the bullish volume spike today. Volume's back with the big gap up open, but there is a red flag. Notice the long upper wick on today's candle. That does signal profit taking, similar to this candle back here with the long upper wick. The candle is busting through the upper wick is busting through the upper Bollinger Band. And notice that the upper Bollinger Band is pointing up. In order to keep the uptrend going, basically the share price is going to have to hold this level. The red flag is there is another big gap on the chart. So if the candles do pull back, look for a potential gap fill and possibly drop down to EMA4. That could happen and the chart could still remain bullish. Now we have two gaps on the chart, and you have RSI now at overbought levels, hitting 84, getting to be a similar level to where it topped out last time. And then you have Fasto back here at 78, hitting 80. If you look here, AKBA was unable to head higher above 80 on Fasto last time. There was a bullish crossover on ADX. That is, a good sign, and a bullish crossover on MACD and on both time frames. So they're all signals that the chart is heating up. It just has to, the share price just has to push higher. If you look here at the AKBA 15-minute chart, you'll see here that the move was the big gap open, and then it consolidated sideways basically the entire day. And it needs to get ahead and break above this high close here at 10 o'clock in order to head higher. The middle Bollinger Band support did break into the close. That does signal that the chart was breaking down. It is a red flag closing below the middle Bollinger Band on the 15-minute chart. That is a reflection of that long upper wick on the daily candle. The key level to hold is going to be this this close here and the open today. This is in the 1480s, about 1485 or so. If that breaks, you could see a big drop down to the 50 simple moving average all the way down here at 1415. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on PSAR here. Could get a possible bear flip. There was a volume spike into the close. The MACD bear crosses on both time frames were red flags. Okay, so let's look at another stock, RENN. Okay, this stock made a very bullish move today as well, up 15%. RSI looks good here at 55. There's more juice in the tank to move higher. You've got Fasto now above 80. Look for a bullish crossover here on ADX. If the green line crosses the red line to the upside, that will be a bullish signal. This stock had been on a big pullback. It had a hammer formed yesterday. And today there was this big move with a close above the middle Bollinger Band. The key level to break is going to be this 50 simple moving average. If it can break that, the 100 will possibly be on deck. If it hits the 50 and it pulls back, bulls want to see this middle Bollinger Band hold. As long as the middle Bollinger Band holds, a new uptrend should begin. If there's a close below the middle Bollinger Band, that will signal downside risk. MACD is pinched on the 12, 26, and 9, and there was a crossover in the 8, 13, and 5. Bulls, you want to see this crossover and the MACD line stay above the signal line. That would signal more upside potential. Keep in mind this is a low volume play. The break today above the closing price here at 345 or at 330 was a signal that there was more upside potential. It was pointing towards a break above the high close, was signaling that this wants to break out higher. A doji did form at the close, so that was a red flag here. There was some profit taking here. The candles may need to work back into the bands, but if you notice, it closed well above the middle Bollinger Band at 690, and the key here is the 7 level. As long as the candles stay above 7, there should be more upside potential. If you see a drop below 7 tomorrow, that'll be a signal that the chart is cooling down. Okay, the crossovers on MACD on both time frames is a signal that the share price wants to push higher, possibly a new uptrend along with the big volume spikes. So we'll see here if it can continue this bullish move tomorrow. Okay, let's look at VNCE. This is a stock we've been following for the dead cat bounce play, and we had been looking for one thing and one thing only, and that was a close above EMA4, and that finally happened today. EMA4 is this pink line here, currently at 0.36. The close above that level is signaling more upside potential. The key level to break is going to be this down here, the close on May 2nd. And and then this zone right here, this is looking like around 38 or so. If it can break that, whenever we get a close above EMA4, our next target's this EMA8 level, currently at 42. We should see that tested tomorrow with this close above EMA4. If that happens and there's a close above EMA8, then it could really get moving. You'd be talking about EMA13 at 52, which would be some nice percentage gains from 37. If EMA4 fails to hold and there's a close below EMA4 tomorrow, then it will no longer be in play. The only way that this dead cat bounce play will continue being in play is if candles continue forming above EMA4 on the daily chart. Dead cat bounce plays or stocks in a heavy downtrend on the daily chart are always at risk to hold when they close below EMA4. Keep an eye on MACD. There was a bullish crossover in 8, 13, and 5. That is signaling more upside potential. Bulls, you want to see this MACD line cross over the signal line on the 12, 26, and 9. Volume was light today on the bounce. Probably going to need to see more volume to see this push through resistance. Okay, so if you look here at the 15-minute chart, you'll see that it was heating up today. Notice that there was this downtrend, and the share price came up and it hit this descending resistance line, currently at 385. That is going to be the big level to break, along with the 200 simple moving average at 379. So if it can break the 38 to 385 level, then it looks like it could possibly run up here to the 300 simple moving average at 436. The close today above the 100 simple moving average and the 50 simple moving average and the middle Bollinger Band was very bullish, and that is signaling more upside potential. As long as those levels are holding, then VNCE bounce play is in progress, and the signal is to ride. If there's a close below this middle Bollinger Band, that'll be your first clue the chart is breaking down. And then if the 50 simple moving average and the 100 simple moving average break, then that'll be a big red flag. That'll be a major risk to hold. If you can get above that 200 simple moving average, then that's going to be the signal that's going to push and possibly run back up to the 300. Okay, so this bounce play is finally in progress. We'll see if it can follow through tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this chart. Check us out at mychartcoach.com and our YouTube channel at mychartcoach.com. Thank you.